Hey there, commercial construction coffee talk fans. Thanks for chiming in. My name's David Corson. I'm your host. I'm also the publisher and editor of Commercial Construction and Renovation Magazine. I've got a little halo from the light, but that's what it used to look like. This was the last issue I printed of August 2021. We're now 100% digital. We still do print on demand, but this was the last one that we did. And let's see how big this one was. This was 148 pages. Really good looking issue. White Castle had their biggest facility restaurant that they ever built. So we appreciate Mike Guinan for gracing the cover. He's the VP of Operations Services. And let's see where I was at. I was in Graceland. I was doing we did a retreat in Memphis. Well, a couple years back now, but that's what I was doing. My hair was a little browner, and it was during the winter when I was doing that site visit. But if you haven't been to Graceland, I've been there a long, long time ago. I hadn't been to Memphis, and I went and checked it out. And it's not just the little house that Elvis grew up in, and the little gift shop next door in the plane. They've built a huge amphitheater and all these buildings with all these costumes. I mean, you can spend the whole day out there. It was awesome. And anyway, that was a really good event. And actually, Memphis was great. Great food. We went to BB King's. He has this band on Friday night that plays on Beale Street, and we went and saw Martin Luther King's that whole history that you have to see. We went to Sun City Records where everybody recorded, and actually Memphis is a really cool town. If you haven't seen it, it definitely you want to go there when it's warm, not when it's cold. But they've done a great job out there at Graceland. So and all of our attendees, it was awesome. And in any event, it's Thursday. Tomorrow's Friday, going into the Labor Day weekend. Just beautiful out there. It's been so nice here in Atlanta for about the last 5 or 6 days. Not a cloud in the sky. Today there's a little cloud cover, but low humidity. It feels like a fall day out there. And I've been working on my empty nester house. I was up there yesterday on the lot. They were doing some backfill on the retaining walls, and they're getting my slab ready for boxing in and pouring next week. And then I'll go into sticks and frame, wrap, roof, windows. Hopefully it'll be dry by the end of the month. And then my wife's crew will come in and start cranking that out. And it's been an amazing journey through permitting and then changing some things and getting revisions. And so I've just got, I just have my construction hat on. Now I've got my publisher's hat on. So here I am. So with that said, I've got an awesome lady. Her name is Kristin Beck, and she's with I'm going to get this right. She's with Holcim Building Envelope, but she's also the president of the commercial roofing systems and lining business for 𝐓𝐇𝐈𝐒. Did I get that right, Kristin?
You did. You did. Great job.
All right. Well, say hello to our listeners out there, Commercial Construction Coffee Talk.
Oh, well, hello, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here today.
And where are you out of? You're in the States, obviously.
Yep. So I'm actually based out of Ann Arbor, Michigan, about 30 minutes from DTW, and I travel every week. So I'm in market every single week, different state. I spend a lot of time, of course, in our headquarters in Nashville, Tennessee. But I think it's really important for us to be with our customers and at our plants, with the greater mass of people. So you'll find me somewhere new every single week.
Yeah, actually, I did an event up in Grand Rapids last month, and I had never been there, and it was a really, really cool town. We had a seminar with the Retail Contractors Associations in the Amway Grand Plaza Hotel, and they
Oh,
had the
cool.
park there, the band going on. It was really, really cool. I kind of expected what it was going to look like, but really nice. And we went to this duck pin bowling gig that was right next to the Amway Center, and
Oh, yeah.
everybody was
For
super
fun.
nice. Looked like
Hmm.
they had, everything was green and just a nice place. And so anyway, I was just up in your neck of the woods. So
Next
uh,
time, look me up.
yeah, no, hey, look, when I told my wife this year, I go, look, we're going to build a house. My wife's an interior designer contractor, and
Oh,
we're
cool.
federal contractors too. We don't build $30 billion, uh, atomic nuclear plants. We do little jobs. Anyway, we bought this land back in 2020. I told her, I said, we really should build a house ourselves. And we need it for the portfolio. And then if one of us wants to get the license, we'll go out and do it. But we really need to do a ground up. She does a lot of basements, bathrooms, kitchens, all that kind of stuff. A couple like
Oh,
commercial projects here and there, but really residential is where it's at. And we're the contractors, and it's been an amazing. I go up every day, make sure what's going on, and I've picked the right subs to work with. And she's got her whole crew waiting for the house to get dry and get the roof on it. So I'm doing the foundation, the sticks and frame, and all the clearing, and uh, it's been a journey. Dealing with permitting took me about 4.5 months. They
oh,
changed my address. They made me do this. They made me do that. And then we cleared the land. And then we realized that the driveway was too sloped. We were putting a bathroom in for my
oh,
a basement in for my sister and my mother, who's 85, and it just wasn't going to look right. And I called my wife. I go, Houston, we have a problem. You need to get up here. And you can look at CAD drawings and blueprints all day long, but until you see the actual lot when it's clear,
right.
and then the grader's like, yeah, um, I thought it was going to be about 200 loads of dirt, but really it's probably going to be about 300. I'm like, I'm getting rid of the basement. I don't need it. I just want it for my mother. It's an empty nester house. I've already had the trophy house, and so. That took another, they said 2 weeks, but the municipality, the building department locally in Forsyth County took about a month to get everything done. And it
Of
rained
course.
for 2 weeks. I couldn't get any dirt. And now Mother Nature's cooperated with me for the last week. So I've made a major comeback in getting things done. And now it's exciting to see everything coming on there. And I go up there every day, do a little video. I'm adding a residential column to my magazine, and
I love it.
I'm going to portray or showcase a house or whatever it might be in different cities every month. And then I'm going to give my take on what I learned every day. My first column is going to be on um, permitting and collaboration with the municipality and how they can improve their communications, because the water department doesn't talk to the planning department, who doesn't talk to the health and septic, all
Right.
that stuff. And it was eye-opening. And I come from a construction family, so it's not like I didn't know it, but it was very timely, because I actually had my project management report coming up, so people were like, yeah. So, but it's been fun, and just can't wait to get things really going. Like I said, once the house is dry, her crew will come in, and we're gonna crank that house out in about 4 or 5 months done. And
How cool, like to be able to build your dream house and then, decorate it, construct it perfectly and then having it in your background. I can't wait to see pictures. I hope you'll share them with us.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. No, I'll tell you, it's so funny is that I post stuff, I'll put stuff up, little videos, and on TikTok I do them, and people say, "Hey, I saw your retaining wall you were doing the other day," or whatever. They'll send me a message, and I'm like, "Oh my God, I have X amount of followers out there, but I'm not Joe Rogan or anything." And but they're like, "Oh yeah, keep those things going." And I'll tell you, I was at a reception on Monday in Orlando, and I was telling people about the project, and they were said, "Hey, that's really cool. You have a construction magazine, and now actually people know that you can build." I said, "Why? My family's been in construction since 1888, and my grandfather was in World War II underneath General Patton, and he was a combat engineer. He built all the bridges after the Allies got done with the war and rebuilt Europe, and so."
Yeah.
Like all the grandsons, when I turned 16 to get my driver's license, I had to work in the scrapyard. I shoveled asbestos, acetylene torch, I welded, I learned all that. And now my cousins, they're my age, they're running the company of fourth, fifth generations later. But I grew up, that was my gig. I grew up, down in the scrapyard. And we knew sustainability before it was even a word.
Exactly, and you would, right? I mean, because you see the amount of waste coming in, and then you go over to Europe and how different. I mean, they're essentially taking everything old and trying to renew where we're all new over here, right? And then even
Mhm.
new sometimes doesn't cut it anymore, and it's so different, right, compared to Europe.
Yeah. Well, enough about me. Here's how we're going to work it. We'll do it in three parts, our episode. You'll tell your story, where you grew up, where you went to school, kids, sisters, what have you, and how you ended up where you are today. Then we'll talk about the last 4 years of the roller coaster that we've all been on. Even though we're out of the tunnel, there's still some potholes and hindrances and obstacles that we're all going through. And then you'll leave your contact info on one positive thought or phrase with our listeners. So with that said, Kristin, the floor is yours. Tell us your story.
Yeah, so I came from very humble beginnings. Single mom raised my brother and myself. I have a brother that's 6 years younger. He was like a little Dennis the Menace, right? I mean, that's a pretty big age gap. But no, I had a really good upbringing. We really appreciated everything that we had, and I would say even going into college, I didn't have the typical college story. I had a lot of scholarships out there. I was very blessed to be selected. Right before I went to school, my mom got sick. She's okay. She came out of it, but so I actually ended up working going through college. So a little bit different experience. I actually had my first full-time job in the automotive industry at 17. So I graduated school early. I was out there, going to school on nights and the weekends. But I think it made me into the person that I am today. I've always been a very hard worker. I've experienced it from an early age, and it also just instilled within me this sense of who I wanted to be as well, right? Coming from a single mother that struggled, it really pushed me to want to like define and kind of be that next generation where I could get to a point where I could say, okay, I've made it to a level where I feel really really secure, and it just instilled this really strong work I would say overall ethic. Different time back then. Like I'm so happy for this next generation. It's truly a different world than from the time that I started at a young age, but it made me who I am. And so it started in automotive manufacturing and engineering background. I've got an industrial science degree from Central Michigan University, and I'm a ground up kind of learner. So started out as like a floor supervisor in automotive, and I'm really fascinated on how things work. So ever since a young age, I just really love to know how things tick. I'm not just happy with up here, right? I feel like if I'm really going to make an impact, or I'm going to come up with a cool new way to do something, like you really need to understand how things work. And I've carried that through to my career as well. I've taken the time to learn from the ground up. And I would say overall, my leadership style or perspective, you hear a lot about servant leadership and things like that. I'm kind of like this inverted triangle, right? Where I don't think it matters what your title is or what your position is. Everyone is equal and everyone is just as important. And that was really grounded into me by my mother, right? Saying, I mean, there's always a need for everyone. I may be a president now, but I'm just here as someone with a vision and a strategy and a support system to help my people to execute, right? I'm a very, very small piece of the puzzle. It's all the people. It's our workers that are producing our product. It's our customers, our roofing contractors that are installing the product. It's the folks that come into our buildings and help keep them clean and safe for our people, right? It's the drivers that deliver all of our products. So I've carried that through me. I would say also, I'm a people person. I love people. And I feel like, in business, if you're going to be successful, you need to bring people with you. You need to know how to motivate people and then also support people. Because if, without the people, it doesn't matter how much technology, we have, we're nothing. And I would also say, especially within this current industry, this is a relationship industry as well, right? It's all about relationships, and it's really why I love this industry so much. So moved from automotive into chemicals. So prior to joining Holcim, I was with 𝐊𝐼𝐒. The first business that I joined in 𝐊𝐼𝐒 was Dow Building Solutions, and that's when I was introduced to the building and construction industry. It was my absolute favorite. I loved all the businesses, don't get me wrong. But the reason why I loved it is that it's this family, still this family oriented and grown, like you see this generational, like your story, where you can date it back so many generations, the pride, right? It just makes it so real from grandfather to father to son. You also get, these new entrepreneurs. Like some of the coolest stories that I hear from our customers all the time are, hey, when I was 18, I was on a roof and, I'm installing and I saw these subcontractors coming in and I knew they were making more, right? And I'm thinking, I got to get in on that. And then I started thinking, well, wait a second, why can't I have my own company? Those are some of our biggest roofing contractors today. I mean, like what industry do you find that in, right? I mean, there's very, very few industries where if you have a dream and you have the willpower and the motivation, you can make it happen, right? So yeah, so I would say that that's when I first got introduced. That's when I started my relationships with the distributors and just really understanding this industry and what makes it run. And I never thought I'd leave Dow in a million years, and that's when Holcim reached out. And they said, hey, we used to play this game in Dow, like the 6 degrees of Dow chemicals. So like what is made out there that we do not touch, right? Because I mean, we were in absolutely
Everything.
everything,
Yeah.
back in the heyday. And then there was this pitch though, the tie-in was like this sustainability piece too, and this ability to make a positive impact or positive change. And it was like, hey, so you're with the world's biggest chemical company. We're the world's biggest building and construction company, right? And we're responsible, right, for making sure that we have safe infrastructure for the world, right? I mean, we're there, you were talking about bridges and your legacy tie, right? It's our product that's going into these, right? I mean, it's one of those, it's almost like water. And we always joke about that. It's like because it's everywhere, because concrete is everywhere, it's something that you don't even think about anymore, right? And I always like to quiz people, and I'll ask you, do you know what the number two most used commodity is in the world?
Well, I was going to say water is the most important because you need it there. Uh, Food related, or would it be something else?
It's something else, and I've already given it to you. The question is, did you catch it?
I was kind of thinking, I was like, well, water is what I always talk about, when
That
my,
you're getting there. That's actually number one. So
yeah,
water is number one. What would be number two?
air,
It's concrete.
concrete. Okay, there you
Yeah.
go.
So Holcim, like a lot of people ask, like, who is Holcim, right? And we're the world's largest cement, concrete, and aggregate manufacturer in the world. And so we are responsible for the world's sustainable building infrastructure. And it's something that we're extremely proud of. We have led the way when it comes to sustainability, to do the right thing, not only from an environmental perspective, but from a humanitarian and people perspective. But we were doing things that people thought were kind of wild, right? Like why do you care about sustainability? Why do you care about reducing the CO2 in your product? And I think the answer is because we care, because we want to do the right thing. So that was really the draw, is that going into this big building and infrastructure company, tying back to my favorite time, my favorite business, and just having that sole focus. It was an absolutely wonderful opportunity. And kind of to your comment around your background, like you knew about sustainability before people were thinking about it. A lot of people don't realize we're actually one of the biggest waste recyclers in the world as well. We've got a division of business called 𝐵𝐔𝐘𝐒 within Holcim, and we say it's turning trash into treasures. We can essentially take almost anything. So all the plastics that we have out there, that are littered, within the ocean, tires, you name it, and we can turn it into emissionless fuel, which is absolutely amazing. And we can run these big, cement plants, and we sell it at the end of the day. It's just it's something that's always been a core focus of ours, and it really attracted me over to Holcim. It was one of the big things that really attracted me over.
The
And
only
then,
reason, the only
yeah,
reason I said air was because I
well,
just
you gotta have it.
well, I was poured my foundation, the footings and my retaining walls, and they had to cure for a week. And I was like, okay, what's the weather going to look like? Because that's going to determine how quickly they're going to dry, if they're going to be right. And then yesterday they were doing the backfill and all that. So it's been on my mind with the Mother Nature, and then the curing process. And
Yeah,
it's all
yeah.
about scheduling because my plumber and my electrician are like, when's he gonna box it out? I want to get up there. I've got to do the distances and this and that. And I said, look, I call him every day. He said 7 days for the walls to cure, and then we're gonna backfill one day, and then he'll come up, he'll mark it. You guys can get up there. You're just gonna have to be patient. Believe me, we want you to get up there, but it's just chemistry 101. It's they
You're
got
100% right. It's air, it's temperature. I mean, it makes all of these products work differently, right? And it's fascinating. I mean, it's such a cool industry that we're in, and I was just delighted. So, being and I kind of tease. I remember when we first acquired Legacy Firestone Building Products, which is now Elevate Commercial Roofing Systems and Lining. I remember everyone saying, "Well, who is Holcim?" Right? Because we're this big infrastructure company, but maybe not overly known to roofing contractors. Who knew who we were was all the general contractors, right? Because like we're the base, right? So we're the ground stabilization that's underneath your new house, right? So that's probably our rock. And then we're coming in and we're pouring your foundation. We're getting ready with your sidewalks, right? And wall infrastructure. And so I teased, I said, well, we're the Flintstones, right? The Flintstones just bought you. So we're overall this giant, big, limestone company, right? And if you think about it on the Wholesome side, right, we essentially own all of our raw materials too, which is really cool, right? And so yeah, just amazing company with the right level of focus. We've had amazing leadership. Making sure that, this might sound cheesy, but I mean, we're really trying to make this world a better place.
Mhm.
And, when you think about our CEO at the time, Jan Jenisch, when you think about, okay, what makes sense next, right? So where's this big concrete giant going to go? It's then looking out in the industry. Like when you think about no matter economic conditions, what do you need? Well, we need safe roads, right? We need safe bridges. We need safe infrastructure. Well, we need dry buildings, right? We need dry buildings. And so that's where kind of the magic came together, because now we're tying in my background, like this big roofing and wallboard and insulation and spray foam background. Jan came from �𝐔𝐘𝐒, so super familiar he used to run, he was the global CEO of 𝐶𝐘𝐒 as well. And so he made this really, really wonderful decision to say, you know what? We're going to diversify, and we're going to diversify into something that not only really fits our portfolio well with our overall kind of focus as a company, but that will allow us to really continue that sustainability journey as well. Because we've already essentially had such a significant reduction in CO2 in our base core cement and concrete products. But now we have a real opportunity to make an impact in roofing in general, right? By making sure that, we're using the right raw materials, that we're trying to eliminate landfill. And overall, the dream, right? The dream is that when we do a re-roof in the future, right? And we do a tear off, the dream would be, and not just us, right? I mean, this is an industry that we're taking all those materials and then we're recycling them right back in, right? So yeah, that kind of leads us to date where this wonderful vision to acquire this beautiful gem of a company. I remember when I was in Dow, looking from afar at Firestone Building Products, and they were a leader, and they were recognized and they were brilliant. And I remember they were like the first to have waterproof packaging, and that was such a big deal. Like we're thinking we're Dow, like we should have that first, right? And they had it. I mean, they were a first, and a leader in so many ways. And then to be blessed to then be able to be a part of it in the future again, definitely a dream come true. So, kind of leads us to today where I initially came in to the business as the company's global chief supply chain officer. So I was brought in. I really got involved during the supply chain crisis. I came in about a year after we acquired the business. And it was my mission to make sure that, we had all of our raw materials contracted, that we were fully diversified so our customers could count on us in the future, because there's always going to be that next thing. And then during that time, it was really getting to know all the people in the departments and seeing all the opportunity. I had such a wonderful time just getting to know our customers and channel and everyone in the industry, people like yourself, NRC, all these wonderful things that make our industry so special. And then I took over the business officially as the president in April of last year. So, here we are. We are in the process of really going down a transformational journey, I would say. And, the vision is that, we want to be known out in the industry as the manufacturer with the biggest heart, right? We want to make a positive impact for our people, for our customers, for our communities. And we just want to provide a delightful experience. So the goal is not to be the biggest, the goal is to be the best. And it's going to take some time to get us there, but that's the path we're down right now.
All those companies, Firestone, Dow, I mentioned Duralast, before we were talking, I walked trade shows. I mean, you used to walk probably 30, 40 or lighting, building products, AIA, Green Build, all that stuff. And got my picture with the Dow Pink Panther multiple times over the years. And Firestone, they used to run ads with me, back in the day. Same thing with Duralast. I always do my roofing issue, and I was a sponsor for the IRE show every year, and I always do my roofing issue after that. But uh, I'll tell you, some of the nicest people are in construction, and
Agreed. Agreed.
and the only reason I said air was because concrete, people don't realize how much concrete is on is on the
Everywhere.
planet. It's
Everywhere, right?
everywhere. I mean, just look at what they did when they put in all the highways across the country. It was a security issue for the states, but the bottom line is someone already had to do that stuff. This year I run about 5 to 7 miles a day, and I live up by the lake. And they've got all these power lines that go through there. And probably a month ago, I was going, I'll do my little spiel here. And I was like, God, I would have loved to seen all of this land get cut out, even though it wasn't, just to have them put up the wires and clear the trees. And it just it goes all the way across the state with all these big transformers and electrical lines. And you got to realize people had to do that. They had to clear the land, and then they had to put the concrete so they could get the roads there. I mean, everything is tied to the hip, and I couldn't have done my project. You know,
Right.
concrete is the foundation. It's what's gonna hold the house up. I still, when I was looking at my, before we got rid of the basement, even though we're putting the slab in. I wasn't thinking, and then I was like, oh yeah, it's got a cure. Okay, I understand that. I'm gonna have to wait, and then putting it in, and but it was so funny when the concrete guys were up there. I'm like, hey, when are you going to do the slurry test? Okay, how come that rebar is? I'm like asking all these questions, and I think I was nagging them, but I was like, look, I'm putting it in the magazine. And I don't want to sound like an idiot when I'm in there when I'm the owner, you know.
Right.
But I kind of knew what everything was. I've been
Appreciated it
watching
too, though.
YouTube videos all year before I even started.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think they probably appreciated it though, because they probably don't typically have someone that's so interested in how it all works. And I kind of love that. I mean, it's not every day that they get the opportunity to actually share all this stuff. So it's their
Well,
livelihood, and they probably enjoyed sharing that with
Well,
you.
what was crazy is that, my grader, he did probably, there's 52 homes up there on the lake lot, and everybody's got a, boat dock. Anyway, uh he did the grading. It's a father and son team, and oh, they cleared that lot quickly. It was amazing watching those guys. And I've been videotaping it, like I'm doing like a little lead book when I'm done. Anyway, we've used everybody to kind of, through the referral network. And the cement guy, he was 15 doing concrete now with his father and foundations, and now he has his own company. And I just understood that concrete was like it was one of the biggest nut that I was going to pay for, but I wanted to make sure
Yeah.
that it was going to be done. And the funniest thing was I went to the permitting. Every county's different in any state, and they all have their own different regulations. So I'm dealing with the permitting, the planning department, all this stuff, and not once did the inspectors met me out on my property, and they said, Mr. Corsi, you have nine inspections. You got this concrete. You're gonna have three. You got the footings. We're gonna come out, and we're gonna do the rebar, and then you're gonna pour them. We're gonna do our final one. Then you can move on. So, I'm dealing with I sent the concrete guy a note and I said, hey Matt, when are you going to finish with the footings? Comes back, goes, oh yeah, we poured the footings this morning. It's getting inspected and they're gonna start on the walls or whatever. I'm like, no, wait, the county's got to come out and look. He goes, oh no, we're using a third party inspection. I said, listen, no one's admit I know what it is. But no one told me that from the county that they did that. You can't go out there. They told me that they had to inspect. He goes, David, listen, I'm running a concrete company. I can't wait for those guys to come out the next day if they say they're going to be there at 4 o'clock. I do all my big jobs in the morning and then I come and do all this little stuff at the end. So
Right,
we have an engineer that will come out. He'll sign off on it. You have recourse if anything happens. He's liable. But if the county comes out, even if your concrete doesn't work, they got nothing to do with it, even if they do inspect it. And I was like, that's a brilliant thing. So I said, look, I just want it in writing. Send me something. So I called the county and I had spoken to everybody. I knew who the chief building official was. I called Brandon up. I said, Brandon, I've been doing these permits, learning the ins and out in Forsyth County. Tell me why I wasn't told about the third party inspector because that makes things so much easier. Not that I don't want you guys to come out. He goes, well, Dave, you pay that in your permit and this and that. And I said, yeah, but it makes it so much easier for me to know that, hey, the guy can come out, he sends the report
right,
to 20, within 24 hours, and then you're good. And I asked him, can I do that on my mechanical, my plumbing, or my electrical? Because I'd love to have that done. We were going to hire an inspector anyway, just as another set of eyes on it. Because I told the inspectors when they came out to the lot, I said, I want to pass my inspections the first time. I don't want to have to, 25 bucks fine. I wasn't worried about it. I just wanted to make sure that it was,
right.
going to go as we planned. So,
Can you
uh,
imagine? Can you imagine what our industry goes through every day on these things? It's definitely not simple, is it?
well, I told my wife when she came up and our driveway was too slow because the amount of dirt that they had to lift up the house to put the basement in, and I said, babe, listen, you're in construction. You understand. It's a little give and take. It happens every day on construction sites. You just got to give a little and make a decision, and then you move on. And let's just
Right.
keep on going because Mother Nature, is going to dump some water here, and we're going to lose some days here and there. So, but the more you know, the better off you are, and just like yourself, everything that I've done. My one family, they were in construction. My other one was in retail and upholstery furniture. And I did my real retail training at Levitt's after I got out of school, and I Scotch guarded, put more of those brass tables. I was a picker. I did all that stuff, and then my mom got remarried, and he was in jewelry. I built a store. I got GIA certified,
Wow.
and I did. But everything that I did, even in my athletic career back in the day, I took all little bits and pieces that molded me and who I am today. And that's what I'm hearing that your story is.
Yeah, yeah. It's not, I mean, and you go through and it's not easy, right? And you prevail and it makes you that much stronger, right? So it's like you learn different things, you come up with different challenges, and it molds you into this person that is prepared then for kind of anything, right? You're ready for it no matter the challenge at the end of the day. So
The most important thing you said was people are the most important
they
because
are.
you can't do everything. You have to be able to delegate and trust your people to get done. And that's going to be my segue into our next part of our interview. Talking about people and how things went. You can look back over the last 3 to 4 years, back at March in 2020. There's cranes everywhere. The economy's just kicking tail. Everybody low unemployment, boom, everything just, goes kaput. It's going to be a couple weeks, then it's a couple months. Things started open, depending on what state you're in,
Yeah,
determine what the regulations were. Now, 3 or 4 years later, we're out of the tunnel. Still some, pitfalls, inflation, blah blah blah. It's reality, and but talking about people, talk about how your different divisions are, weathered the storm because so many companies had to figure it out, maybe
sure.
turn faster than others, and maybe lessons learned that you'd like to share with our audience out there in Commercial Construction Coffee Talk, and talk about how you weathered the storm.
Yeah, I mean, so if you think about it, we were always in that critical category, right? So we never stopped on both sides of the house. You know, first and foremost, number one, it's how do we keep our people safe, right? So everyone from our plant workers to our road crews, right? It was easy from a corporate perspective. It's easy to keep corporate America safe, stay at home, right? We all adapted to this, Zoom culture, right? This video culture. And I think that there was a lot of pessimism going into that. Like, can you really operate a business truly virtually? I think most of us proved you can, right? You miss that in-person dynamic. It's so important, right? It's so important to be together, but we all prove that you can do that. It was about all of our hard workers, though. How do we keep our people safe? So that's really where we focus, making sure that we had masks provided to our employees. We were already in, like, so, if you remember the masks, that everyone said was safe, right? We actually had those already within our zone because just for the industry that we're in, right? We were already used to these masks, but it's how do we keep our people safe? How do we make sure that, we went through every single operation, touchless, Matt, just making sure that everyone was safe, making sure that we had the right protocols in place, and trying not to be trying to mitigate how people felt very overwhelmed during this time, right? We wanted them, no matter what was going on around the world, we wanted them to feel safe. We wanted our people to feel supported. And we wanted to create an environment that, people felt comfortable in. And I think we did that really successfully. And we did it fast. We did everything extremely fast. We were very nimble. We were very proud with that. I remember right when COVID was breaking. So Holcim is based out of Switzerland, a Swiss-based company. And every year we would, all the top senior leaders would actually fly into Switzerland. And I remember the second that they heard about it, and then if you remember, like within weeks, like countries locked down. Remember, like it's like you couldn't get back into the US. You couldn't, it was really wild. I mean, they just took all the best precautions. It's like, no, 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 we need to put this on hold, right? We don't want, right now there's too much unknown and your health is more important than anything. So I think we did a wonderful job. And then I think it was just continuously throughout reassessing, what have we learned? Where do we see cases? What do our people need? What type of resources? I think it was just a wonderful show of how people can come together and make things work under very difficult conditions, right? And do it in a way that they're proud of at the end of the day too. So
So many firms that I've had on my, I had just bought my mic. I was going to go out and do interviews on the construction site, whether the brand was there, who had the developer, and and then I was already working on my house. I had a digital magazine. I treated it. I just knew it was there. I ignored it, but it was there, thank God. And I just started winging these things, and God, I was god awful. Look, I'm not Joe Rogan, all right, but the thing is that I just kind of, well, you know what? I'm gonna make mistakes. You gotta make mistakes to get better. So you're gonna
that's
learn from it.
to learn.
And now I look back, and I was a print face-to-face guy. I mean, that's what I was. And my whole world got changed because I had just had my 10th anniversary in January of 2020 in Jacksonville. Most people I ever had come to my event. And I used to do a cocktail party once a month with local subscribers in different cities. And I did my first one down in Coconut Grove. We were doing a shopping center that was getting renovated. And then all of a sudden, boom. And there were some scary nights, and I was fighting with my printer. I was like, look, half the people I'm going to send the magazine to, they're furloughed, their offices are closed. The post office is going to throw that stuff in the garbage. It's a waste of paper and ink. And the recycler in me, it just wasn't right with me. And
Right.
you've been a publisher for so long, it's economies of scale I'm like, all right, I bit the bullet, and we were doing 6 issues a year. So I was bi-monthly. I printed that issue at the end of March, and uh, in April, I kind of my wife would be like, where are you going? I'm like, I got to think. And I get up like 3 or 4 in the morning. I go down and just, and then my artist, my editor, are like, look, let's go digital. We have all this content, and we'll do a small press run to keep the advertisers happy and for whoever we feature on the cover. And then we kind of rolled with it, and it was amazing. And last month, I had just under 7 million people hit the website consuming content on the
It's
magazine site.
amazing. You should
I
be
never
so,
had 1 million people hitting my
yeah,
site.
that is amazing. I mean, that just shows the adaption and the focus and making it work,
Well,
right?
the thing is that getting back to my original point, where all the people that I've talked to over the last 3 to 4 years, they said that they had some of their best years because A, they learned more about their company, they learned more about their employees or their people, that they can be productive, that you can trust them to work out of the home. Some people have to be in the office, don't get me wrong, but uh, it was an amazing, and the only thing that they said that stopped them from having better years was they needed more project managers and they needed more superintendents, to
Yeah,
run the
yeah,
project. That was one of the biggest hurdles. Other than that, they all had great years, but learning about their company, maintaining their company culture, even if they came back with a hybrid model, X amount of days in the week. But it was amazing to hear the people that turned on a dime uh, and kept a positive attitude, move forward, don't look back because you can't change history. You can't,
right.
that
Yeah,
scoreboard is permanent. And so it's been really, really, uh, it, it, it's been inspiring to hear some of the stories of people, what they went through. And it also lets you get rid of some dead weight, that you don't need. And that's with any company. And, but the positivity of, it's so exciting because now AI is in there and
yeah.
it's changing everything and it's making everybody's trying to use it in a different way that it's actually helped, in my opinion, it's helped the economy because it kept things moving at warp speed. And what you learn today 6 months from now is going to be completely different, from a technology standpoint.
It's
um,
true. It's like evolving so rapidly, isn't it? I mean, you think back 20 years ago, right? I mean, it's just look where we are today. So it's just wild.
well, the only reason I said air before, when you said, hey, what, you said water, and then I said air, was, my son, he went to FA mechanic school. And first he wanted to work with his hands. He didn't want, he didn't want to, he wasn't a college material. He was a great lacrosse player. He probably could have played D1, but didn't like English, didn't like history. He just wanted to work with his hands. So first he wanted to be an auto mechanic. And I said, if you don't own your own shop, you're not going to make the big bucks. Well, I'll be a motorcycle guy. I go, well, you got to do it in a warm state where they ride all year long. Then we took a tour of this place called AIM, the Aviation Institute of Maintenance. There he got his A&P license in 2 years, but they teach welding, woodworking, avionics, all that stuff. Uh, Worked for Boeing for 3 years, and
Oh,
now,
kidding. Aerospace. Yeah.
yeah, no, he's working on 787s in Charleston. And anyways, worked in the plant for a year and then he became a flight ops. He delivered all the planes that came out of the plant or any of the planes that needed to
Oh,
go,
cool.
need tweaked. But he just left. He came home for a couple months. I thought he wanted to work for a smaller shop, and if you're fit or not. And he said, I don't like working here. So he just moved to Dallas to work for FlexJet. He's working on $20 million Challenger jets. And anyway, it at 25, it was great. But I told him when he went, I said, look, we need skilled trade people. So
Oh,
you like to work
dude.
with your hands. So be a plumber. Everybody's got to use water. Okay, you cook with it. Your body's made of it.
Yeah.
Everything you have to do is do me water. You could be a millionaire and write your own ticket, or go the HVAC route, heating, cooling, air. Everybody has to use, especially here.
Can't go wrong there. HVAC, that's huge, right? I mean, it's
Yeah.
so
And
different.
I tried to push it, and then he found his niche here, and it's amazing. And but
Gotta,
all of those
gotta
little
find the passion, right? You gotta find like what drives you, like what gets you excited every morning, right? To start the day and what helps you sleep at the end of the night, right?
Oh, totally, totally. Well, the story of your firm and, the amount of people that you probably have between all the divisions, it's got to be a massive number. But, knowing that you were thinking about your people first, that's a company you want to work for. It's
Yeah,
not about the bottom line, it's about the people. So
agreed.
I commend you for and your company for going in that direction, because without people you can't get stuff done, and without construction this country
True.
is not going to go forward. It's just the reality of it. So um if you're out there at Commercial Construction Coffee Talk and you're not familiar with Holcim or any of the divisions now that are underneath their umbrella, Kristin, if someone wanted to reach out to you and bounce some questions off you, or was thinking about, hey, I'm going to roll out 100, stores freestanding, and I need to put, concrete or roofing or whatever,
Yeah, yeah.
how would someone reach out to you?
So number one, Elevate is open door, right? So we kind of talked about We have such strong relationships out there with Channel. I have an amazing sales team. We have over 38 external sales rep groups that essentially sell our product. We have all of the in-house expertise and technology. I would say that number one, anybody can reach out. So you can go on our website and just inquire, and anybody will get back with you. I'm probably not the typical leader of an organization. I like
Yeah.
talking to our customers all the time. I talk to my sales team constantly, and everyone's got my contact information as well. So I would say it's super easy to reach out. They can get a hold of us. Probably the easiest way is on our website, and they just give us a location, and then we'll connect in. But I've got random people reaching out to me on LinkedIn and what have you, and I connect them on there too. So, we're out there. We want to help people. We want to make sure that, when we're coming up with all these new innovative products and solutions, that it's going to truly help our industry and our community. And so I would say that if you need anything in the commercial roofing space, or even like we do a little bit, a lot of people don't realize, I mean, we do flat roof residential as well. We do beautiful metal roofs, right? Reach out to us. We'd be happy to help, help solution things for you. And, I would tell you that you'll have a really good experience. I've got like I said, I'm very blessed to have such wonderful people and such wonderful teams, and I really think that's what makes this company so special. Why we were so excited with that, like when Legacy Firestone came on the radar. It's like, wow, you hear about the people that sell and support and have been with this business, and you're just not going to get that experience anywhere else. So yeah, I would say reach out anytime. Happy to chat, happy to talk. I'm a huge participant in the industry too. Recently went on the NRCA board because I think it's such a wonderful group. And so if you're not in the NRCA, sign up, come see me there, right? So I go to all those events, and that's really been an absolute delight to increase our participation in. Yeah, I'm very excited about where we're going. I think that when Bridgestone was the parent company of this business, that the focus was tires. It was the focus was rubber, but not EPDM, right?
Right.
It was tires, and now we've got a parent company that loves roofing, loves building and construction, understands the importance of a local relationship, the local dynamics. A lot of people when they think about 𝐓𝐇𝐈𝐒, they think, gosh, are you like just some big centralized model? No way, right? We are localized. We are about the people. We are about the local dynamics, right? You're going to find us in the field. That's where you're going to find us. And I think a lot of people get surprised by how much I travel and how important it is, I think, to be at our plants, with our massive people, right? Because that's where the majority of our people are. And then with our customers, right? Everyone from our roofing contractors, our architects, our consultants, our general contractors, our building owners, right? We're out there making sure that our products are what this industry needs to make our contractors' life easier. Our building owners, they have that contentment and that peace knowing that with our 𝐓𝐸 product on their roof, nobody will cover you better. And that's what we've been known for the last 40 years. Nobody will cover you better. Our Red Shield warranty, the way that we'll service our customers, if there's ever any concern, we're always here for the industry. We're here for our customers, the industry in general, and that's what we're proud of.
What do you see? What's a really cool product that you see coming down? I mean, we're coming into the end of Q3 and Q4 and end of the year going into 2025. What do you see, that might pique some interest that you see coming down the pike, just in the industry in general?
In general, so to me, it's all about, so I love self-adhered, right? So like you hear, mechanically attached versus self-adhered. I like anything that's going to save people time, money, ease of install, right? Like I go out, you go out on these roofs on a hot day, and I see what our installers are going through, right? And so we want to make their jobs easier. We want to reduce the margin for error, right? And so that is where our focus is, right? How can we, on a hot day, how can we make it easier for our contractors to lay a perfect roof and feel real good at the end of the day, right? That they save some time, hopefully they save some money, and they're not going to have to follow up with any type of issues moving forward. So
There you go. You
yeah.
gotta peek into the future out there, listeners out there on Commercial Construction Coffee Talk from the head honcho there. So take that to what it's worth. But listen, if you have any questions, LinkedIn, y'all know that's where everybody's at. Reach out and ask questions and listen. The way that Krista got on here, the publicist sent me a press release. I looked at it. We went back and forth. We finally found a date, and here she is. So if anybody wants to reach me, you can get me at davidc@ccr-mag.com. Once again, we look at everything. Very tough to get in the magazine, but we post stuff all day long. And, we're content creators, and it doesn't matter what. It could be an anniversary for your company, it could be a new product launch, it could be a charity golf tournament you're doing. One of the things that I found out as, we all were on that roller coaster that there's more than life than work. So I also post all sorts of stuff. How to buy the right cell phone. What are the best tires to have on your car? Hey, listen, if you want to wear hair extensions, if you're a guy or girl, that's okay too. We have some of that stuff on there as well. So, it's not just all about work. It's mostly construction. Don't get me wrong. But we do put a bunch of other stuff on there that gives you that life work balance. And it's like playing the lottery. If you don't buy a ticket, you can't win. So if you don't send me something, I can't look at it. And just like Krista said, I pick up the phone. If you call, people are like, "Oh my God, you're the publisher. I didn't know you." Yeah, but I change the toner on the Xerox machine. I take the recycling out. I do everything. So, uh, but our turnaround time, 24, 48 hours. We send the URL. It's good for your SEO. That's your search engine optimization. It's how Google finds you, and it's a win-win. So don't judge a book by its cover. Send it to me, and we'll take a look. So, Kristen, if there was one positive thought or phrase as we end up here, uh, what would that be you want to leave with our listeners as we go into the Labor Day weekend and the remainder of the year?
Yeah, I would just say, no matter, we talked a little bit about challenges and things like that, be in it together, right? You're never alone. Bring people with you, right? I think it's all about being together in no matter what we do, something exciting, something challenging, and the sky's the limit too, right? I mean, be pioneers, be entrepreneurs, right? When I think about this wonderful industry and where we've gone and where we're going to go, right? And who fills it up, right? I mean, without these big dreams and without all these partners and relationships, it just couldn't have happened, right? So, yeah, I really appreciate you having me on today, David. It was a lot of fun. Great to get to know you better. And I also hope you share all those pictures. I can't wait to see your finished project. How exciting.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's going to be exciting. I'll definitely send you some, as we correspond and you approve your episode. A couple things before we finish out. Number one, if you're on a construction site, we want you to be safe. We want you to be able to get home, have dinner with your spouse, your hubby, your wife, kids, pets, whatever it might be. Catch some tube, catch some REM sleep, and be able to go out and do it, again tomorrow. Number two, it's still hot out there. And even in the cold, we want you to stay hydrated. It's the athlete in me. When you get dehydrated, you get headaches, you make mistakes, you make bad passes or whatever, you miss the goal. So if you're out there in the construction site, drink lots of water. And I'm from Philly, I say water, not water. And put the electrolytes in your bottle and make sure you stay hydrated, liquefied. Okay. Number one, you're going to feel better, you're going to sleep better, and you'll be able to get there. And last but not least, hit the like button so we can get this episode out on the algorithms and people can find it and find out about Elevate and Holcim and all the other divisions that I've seen over the years that are all now under one big umbrella of construction, roofing, etc. So, well, Kristen, pleasure meeting you. I look forward to meeting you in travels or what have you. Pleasure having you on there. And everybody out there, listen, it's Thursday. Tomorrow's TGIF. You got the Labor Day weekend. Go enjoy it. You earned it. And then you got the last month of Q3 in September, and then October, November, so Q4. And this year's over. Adios in 2025. The election will be over. We'll know what's going to happen, and you move on. And you can't control it. Put your blinders on. Stay
Stay positive.
positive. Stay positive and move forward. No negativity. So. All right. So with that said, Kristen, say goodbye from
Bye, everybody. Yeah, be safe. Have a wonderful Labor Day weekend.
and I'm going to sign off
And,
from
oh, and by the way, thank you so much for all of our veterans out there, right, that have fought to protect our freedoms. I'm a huge military supporter and vet supporter, and let's not forget, what this amazing weekend is about too. I mean, we owe so much to our veterans.
Yeah, Labor Day, Veterans Day, 4th of July, those are all my
Yeah,
favorite holidays. It's,
I know.
like I said, I've come from a military family. I raised the flag, I folded it down. Those are my favorite holidays. The other ones are great. I'm not looking for the day off, but the ones that have the veterans out there, thank you for all your
Yeah,
service and all the first line, police, healthcare, all those people that are on the front line. You're amazing. And listen, construction people, those were heroes too. They all got on, they put their mask on the planes, and like I said, without construction, this country's not moving forward. So with that said, everybody have a great Labor Day weekend, and we will see you next time on another episode of Commercial Construction Coffee Talk. Chris, an awesome conversation. Thank you so much. All right,
bye.
cheers, everybody. We'll see you next time.